Welcome to SVG-TV News for Monday, October 17th, 2016. I'm Lafern Fraser with the details. Strong accusations are coming from Minister of Works Julian Francis that engineer Glenford Stuart of Stuart Engineering Limited is stalling the completion of an airline hangar at the Argyle International Airport, commissioned to him by a private company. Minister Francis made this charge in light of a damning report released by Stuart Engineering Services on the readiness of the Argyle International Airport for completion. On his radio program recently, Francis said that the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority, the ECCAA, cannot certify the Argyle International Airport without the completion of the particular hangar.
Glenford Stuart was given a contract at the IADC. Not by IADC, by a private firm. Not a private firm. To build a hangar. And they had to fire Glenford Stuart. They have a different engineer building it now. Because Glenford Stuart, and I believe it was intentional, he delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed the start of a hangar. You can do your homework. I'm not calling nobody else's name except Glenford Stuart's name. But it is a fact that Glenford Stuart was replaced as the engineer in the construction of a hangar at the same Argyle International Airport.
According to Francis, the private airline company fired Stuart and hired another engineer for the project.
That hangar, all the things you see he write, he ain't tell you nothing about the hangar being conditional or a condition for ECA to give support. You have to have a hangar if you're operating a thing out there. Right? So Glenford was selected by the private airline company to build the hangar. And they had to take the job from him. Because the airport wasn't happy with the progress, neither was his employer. So they replaced Glenford. And Glenford knew, because his employer knew, that hangar was one of the things that has to be completed for ECA to give approval.
And Director of Stuart Engineering Limited, Glenford Stuart, says as far as he knows, his company is still contracted to provide structural engineering service for 2 airlines expected to operate from the Argyle International Airport site. Stuart, who is a civil engineer, explained that his company is awaiting the installation of electricity and water supply to the facility, which they are constructing on behalf of a private company.
We are the structural engineers on record, appointed by private investors. Has nothing to do with the IADC. For the past 10 months, we are waiting on the water supply and electricity supply to construct these 2 hangars. We are not contractors. We are consulting engineers. How can I be malicious about my report when the evidence is there? Anyone can go and see. As a matter of fact, if you have the technology, you can stay in your office and see exactly what's happening at Argyle. You don't have to go out there.
Stuart says as it now stands, he will be seeking legal action against those who have defamed him.
False, they're libelous, and they're defamatory. You can view the aerial photographs minute by minute on what's happening out there. And you can check what I've said. I've issued a professional opinion. The statements are patently false. They are also libelous and defamatory.
Asked whether he was being malicious in his recent report, which outlined that there were numerous flaws with the construction of the Argyle International Airport project and that the air facility will not be operational by 2018, Stuart simply said it is his professional estimation. Senior Forestry Supervisor Cornelius Richards has expressed concern over the frailty of this country's watersheds to take another heavy weather beating, as was the case of the December 2013 floods. Richards was one of 3 panelists on Radio 705 Views and Issues program on Sunday, October 16th, discussing the theme for World Food Day 2016, Food and Agriculture, Adapting to Climate Change. The senior forestry supervisor said he was apprehensive that a cycle of degradation could occur if another major weather pattern hits the nation.
Position had changed significantly. Our rivers were flushed and take it downstream. Our agricultural lands were affected. Our beaches were affected. Our fisheries was affected as a result. So there's a bit of a chain effect that takes place. Where do you break that cycle? Where do you focus your energy? You know, you have to touch base on all of these sectors. And God forbid, let's say next year or even before this year is out, we were to have another of those trough systems. What would happen is that from the last 2 systems, the country have not recovered. The natural environment has not recovered. And so if we are faced with another barrage of events, you're going to get what is called a cycle of degradation, where your soils are going to get worse and your forests are going to be more degraded and your agricultural lands will be less productive, less water to feed the systems, to feed your farms, to feed your households, to feed industries. And of course your tourism become affected because the rivers flush out and you see that brown carpet that you see after heavy rains. And so your marine life is affected, your tourism is affected.
Environmental educator Aisha Hamilton, who was also a panelist on the program, said small countries like St. Vincent and the Grenadines need to do more to lower greenhouse gases.
Everybody casts blame around. We in the developing countries, we blame the developed countries, and they in the developed countries say that the large developing countries are just as responsible, if not more responsible as them, for the rise in greenhouse gas emissions. And all of that is true. There are also people who don't even believe that climate change is caused by humans. It's just climate variability. It's the natural cycle, and it just happens that we're living through that part of the natural cycle. And I say all of this to say that whether or not we believe in climate change is immaterial. The fact remains is that we are seeing and living through things that we haven't lived through before. So we have to change the way we do things.
A lack of tolerance and a breakdown of the family as an institution have been identified as causes for concern in today's society as it relates to crime. Speaking on the issue on Sunday's Hit Talk program, lawyer Roderick said in SVG the culture of crime is a learned one and in some cases picked up by family members.
Wholeheartedly share those sentiments that a lot of the blame as regards the crime situation that we currently experience in St. Vincent and the Grenadines has to be placed on the family. I do believe that crime is a culture that is learned at some point, and the research has shown that children who have grown up in homes where their older siblings themselves were involved in criminal activities are more prone to become criminals themselves. So that to me is evidence to support what we've been saying all along, that it's a learned culture. So that's where we need to start. We need to take a look at what goes on in the family, some of the issues that are there, and how we can best address them.
Police Superintendent Elton Jackson said the police are doing their utmost in addressing the issue of crime in SVG. Jackson agreed that the family plays an important role in the reduction of crime and noted that a lack of tolerance is also a factor in the prevalence of crime in this country.
I am glad that you mentioned that, because so many issues came out here this morning in terms of the causes of crime. Brings us to the family. It brings us back to the churches. It brings us back to other sociological issues, the way we socialize children. So that is a complicated issue in itself. True. Okay. What we have noticed generally, though, is that persons are less tolerant in terms of settling their differences. Simple things that can be reasoned out. Then we have persons don't know how to settle their conflict.
Superintendent Jackson also encouraged the public to have faith in the justice system and to avoid taking the law into their own hands.
Go ahead. Right. The availability of illegal firearms. Firearms are not manufactured in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Right. And too many people, in terms of other issues, they take the matters into their own hand instead of allowing the justice system to take its course. It is true that sometimes you have to be patient, but persons have to learn to trust what we have as a civilized nation.
As part of the continuing efforts to build awareness for both breast and prostate cancer, while at the same time providing support to persons affected by the diseases, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Medical Association on Friday, October 14th, held its annual Pink Cap City Walk through the streets of Kingstown, followed by a rally at Heritage Square. We hear more about the event in this report from Nikita Tony.
Commemoration of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, celebrated under the theme Putting Our Strengths Together. The SVG Medical Association, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and other cancer support entities, held its 11th annual Pink Cap City Walk and Rally last Friday, October 14, 2016. According to President of the SVG Medical Association, Dr. Rosalind Ambrose, the walk, which aims to sensitize the Vincentian public about two prominent causes of death in SVG, breast and prostate cancer, had seen its largest gathering yet and urged more persons to support the cause.
In St. Vincent, we do not yet have the local capacity nor facilities for clinical research. But the Medical Association has made that pledge to continue to carry out our public education, our public awareness about early detection of both breast and prostate cancer. We believe it could benefit us, so we put our strengths together. I thank you all again for your help in every way that you have assisted our organization to achieve this aim. With every footstep you made today in City Kingstown, and for every contribution that you have made, we sincerely thank you.
Fully endorsing the continuous support of the Medical Association in the fight against cancer, Minister of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Senator Luke Brown, highlighted some of his ministry's efforts to eventually rid the Vincentian Society of the deadly disease.
Capacity in cancer care through the training of nurses, physicians and pharmacists in even far-flung corners of the globe, such as Taiwan. We will also dedicate more ward space for our patients who do chemotherapy at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. And when we open the modern medical complex very soon, we hope that we have additional space there for cancer patients and their treatment. I've hired an oncologist who is able to assist with local chemotherapy and the ongoing management of cancer patients. We currently facilitate the treatment of cancer patients in Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana, as well as in other countries, so we could provide the best level of care and treatment while we improve our local capacity to those who suffer from this disease.
Noting that dealing with cancer is indeed a battle, cancer survivor Maureen Williams urged all persons affected by the disease as well as supporters to continue fighting and supporting others, as it is the only way to declare victory over cancer.
And we can. Yes, we will. And with the help of Almighty God, who has been my helper, who has brought me from cancer to permanent secretary. Hold on to his hand. He has been my help. He is your help too. We must fight on.
As the fight against cancer continues, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Medical Association urges all Vincentians to become aware and seek proper testing, as early detection can save lives. Nikita Tony reporting for SVG-TV News.
The Technical and Vocational Division of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College has reiterated its commitment to provide the necessary training to persons less academically inclined. During a recent graduation ceremony for a technical vocational training program for unemployed youth, Dean of the Division, Osborne Bowen, said they are providing an opportunity for persons who have dropped out of the formal education system to gain a valuable lifelong skill.
Community College, and particularly the Division of Technical and Vocational Education, is here to ensure that we can find some way in which we can upskill and reskill some of these young people so that they can go out there and become productive. We have been quite happy to say that as a college, we have been doing quite well with graduating approximately 750 young people every year. But again, we should be concerned about those that are not graduating or reaching the college. And for those young people that we have already spent some money on, at some point, maybe our social welfare system would once again be spending money on them, but maybe in another place.
Bowen said the college will continue to provide opportunities for these students to excel in the technical fields.
So I'm saying that as an institution, we are positioning ourselves to continue to make our people productive. This year, our partnership with the BNTF, which is in the 3rd year running, and we are quite happy for the BNTF as an institution that is whose mandate is to empower communities, and the mandate of the St. Vincent and Grenadines Community College, or what we do is add excellence to individuals. That partnership is one that should work well, and at the end of the day, communities would be better, families would be better, and St. Vincent and Grenadines would be better.
The University of the West Indies Open Campus will host its annual Independence Lecture on Wednesday, October 19th at the Methodist Church Hall and Community Building from 7 p.m. This year, Dr. Richard Robertson will deliver a lecture on the topic Playing Against Nature in an Independent St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Dr. Robertson's presentation will focus on the natural environment, the land, sea, and atmosphere within which we navigate our lives. It contends that we cannot continue to play fast with nature and not expect to get burned. The lecture examines how the impacts of hazards are related not only to the severity of the event itself, but also to the mitigation measures we put in place, in addition to the socioeconomic circumstances of the persons being impacted. Dr. Robertson is the director of the UWI's Seismic Research Center at St. Augustine, Trinidad. He is a geologist and volcanologist whose work has been groundbreaking in the study of volcanoes and the geology of the region. The lecture is part of the nation's celebration for our 37 years of independence. Tarracon Records, a label established by musician and businessman Kevin Little and his wife Jacqueline James Little with the agenda to promote Caribbean music and create a brand of Caribbean music in the international market, has signed local singer and songwriter Kahala Beach. Beach said she has known the couple for a long time and is happy to be part of their enterprise.
Sometime last year when they were here in St. Vincent, and we got to talking again when we gently approached the idea of perhaps coming on board Tarracon as a singer and a songwriter. So then earlier in the year 2016 we did sign off on it unofficially. So I've been with them since May, but last week was just the official signing to the label. And signing to a label is just not 1, 2, 3 things happen. There's some steps that we have to take, like for example, artist development of your brand, definition of your sound, finding your niche market, identifying where your niche is, working on your look.
The singer and songwriter says the opportunity is a welcome one, noting that getting signed to a record label is an artist's ultimate goal.
I'm pretty excited. My manager and I worked very hard. This is every artist's goal, is to have an opportunity to have a machinery behind them that can propel their messages via music. And being in the music for such a long time as I have been and struggling with it, to be finally at a position where you can have someone with some clout now behind you to get your music and your brand off the ground finally. It's very, very relieving. it's just like sighing a big breath of relief. Because if you notice in St. Vincent, there are really great artists around in St. Vincent, but a lot of times things like simple finance is the problem.
Beach encourages upcoming artists to remain true to themselves on their journey to make their mark in the music industry.
What I would like to say to any aspiring artist is stay true to yourself. No matter what you do, just stay true to who you are. Don't try to be Rihanna or Beyonce or Destra or Michelle. There's only one of them. It doesn't make any sense. Nobody wants to, because you'll always be known as the wannabe. People always look at you, oh, she's trying to be he trying to be Michelle. She's trying to come like Beyonce. So you won't get any ranks. It's just better you try to be yourself. Create your own musical persona. Find something that works for you. And just, if it feels right to you, just do it.
The police here are investigating a motor vehicular accident involving motor vehicle H8620, a minivan owned by Bevan Boye of Byra and driven by Bramel Moore of South Rivers, and motor vehicle PS264, a car owned and driven by McLean Francois of Bayaboo, which occurred at about 6:20 p.m. on Friday. The police say the passenger van H8620 was traveling into Kingstown while the private car PS264 was traveling in the opposite direction. The van collided with the car and overturned. Several passengers sustained minor injuries and were treated and discharged.